For the first article of the top 5 biggest things you need to know in security tokens from last week, we actually have an article coming out, an announcement from Credit Suisse. That's a $1.5 trillion asset under management company. That's a lot of numbers. And actually, they have announced that they have been working with Paxos. They're a blockchain services company. They work with a lot of different financial institutions. And in this case, they can name Credit Suisse as one of their clients using their platform to perform what they have successfully done, which is a U.S. equities trade in the same day. So Credit Suisse is real excited about this, as many in the Wall Street world know that financial exchanges and marketplaces like NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, they operate on a T+2 settlement status, usually meaning that it takes at least 2 days after the trade to settle and clear it. In this case, it's happening instantly in the same day at any time using the Paxos blockchain. So Credit Suisse is very excited about this. They made a huge announcement, and they are saying that as the markets are getting digitized, Credit Suisse is going to go right there along with it, as they are clearly leveraging the Paxos blockchain. So very exciting stuff. That is a huge announcement, I think.
Yeah, Credit Suisse specifically referenced the difficulties in the T+2 settlement process, where when they file for a trade or when they switch assets or move things from one place to another, it can take up to 2 or 3 business days in order for that to be recorded on the public ledger that's shown to everybody. They noted that that was not only impractical for today's society of trading so quickly and moving assets on a fractionalized scale and from a high frequency perspective, but also they noted that it's expensive. It's difficult to settle these things. You can't automate a lot of this process because it requires a lot of manual intervention. And so because of these things, they were really looking towards working on blockchain to improve a lot of these processes. And I just think that that's fantastic. A lot of these same things we've been preaching for a while, and it's great to see these banks are understanding the benefits of blockchain for improving their capital markets. This is a huge news. Obviously, a $1.5 trillion bank. These guys are definitely able to move markets and able to move the tide of public opinion and drive adoption. Very exciting stuff.
This is a trend that can't be stopped. Credit Suisse is leading the way now, along many other financial institutions. But as you said, they're going to take hold. They're going to take note. The digitization of markets is happening.
And so for number 2, I was really excited about Binance. There was some big news coming out from Binance, and you may recognize the name Binance. They were at one point the largest cryptocurrency exchange. I'm not exactly sure where all the top 5 really fall into place these days, but they are a huge name in cryptocurrency trading, and they've constantly innovated in providing a marketplace and infrastructure for the entire blockchain industry. And Binance announced this week that users on their platform will be able to purchase tokenized Tesla stock. And the way this is going to work is you can buy, there's a third-party portfolio that owns X amount of shares of Tesla stock. So presumably a lot. We're not sure how much yet. But what they're doing is they're actually offering investors to be able to buy shares of that portfolio, essentially, to be able to trade that Tesla stock with a derivative that moves exactly how the shares should. And because of the fact that they can innovate on the traditional share model, they're actually allowing users to buy up to 1/100th of a share of the Tesla stocks. So I guess they're trading at $800 or something like that a share, up to $8 you could put in to buy one share or one fractionalized portion of a Tesla share. This is the first public market security token that they are actually trading on their platform. And this is exciting news because it doesn't look like they're going to stop at just Tesla.
That's huge news. As you said, Binance is one of the biggest leaders in the space. There are a couple other major cryptocurrency exchanges that have also started to do similar things. As we just pointed out with my company of the week earlier with Uphold, they're looking to bring the same vision to the United States. Now we have this live happening today as we speak. People able to take their Binance holdings, whether it be Bitcoin and other crypto assets, and use their platform to get into Tesla. And so that's leading the way for security tokens. That's a huge deal.
And it's almost certainly international only. I do have to say that. Binance has had some differences with regulators around the world, and so they certainly are very geo-restricted in terms of who can actually trade there now. But this is a great first step, and it is interesting that all trades are going to be settled in Binance's stablecoin for US dollars. So they are going to be settling these trades in US dollars, and it trades on the public market hours as well. So it is the same public market hours. It's not 24/7, despite the fact that theoretically it could be. So that's interesting to watch moving forward. Maybe some other exchange offers 24/7 trading for one of these derivative assets as opposed to just on the public market.
From Binance to USD to Tesla, it's happening. That's big.
Big news, big news.
Let's get into number 3. So the Wall Street Journal, also pretty big, I would say. Millions of readers, huge reach, huge influence in Wall Street and financial markets. And there has not been just one, actually, Kyle, but 2 different articles last week in the Wall Street Journal to actually talk about security tokens and this mega trend that is happening. So if everything that we've talked about on the show so far hasn't gotten you excited, this really is mainstream validation in my eyes. So we've got 2 different articles here. The first one is called "The Next Big Trade from Yes or No Bets to Security Tokens." So security tokens are actually in the name for the title, and that's actually by Sebastian Pelliero, and actually talks about the NFT market. There's a great comprehensive overview of sort of the crypto markets in general, and of course the inevitable future of tokenized finance and capital markets. So that's a great article. Definitely highly recommend you go check that out. And there's also the second one here called "GameStop and Bitcoin Renewed a Push to Digitize the Stock Market," and that's by Paul Vigna. And of course, that is the inevitable talk here about, as we saw with our number 1 article from the top 5 this week, with Credit Suisse digitizing their markets in order to get T0 settlement times, as well as many other efficiencies. This article goes into exactly that, and of course, it highlights the example of GameStop with the fact that it created a fiasco with the amount of intensity in trades that was happening around the stock all at one point, leading to all kinds of issues, including at one point it being, over-shorted than the actual company size. And this is just a problem when you don't have everything on one blockchain knowing who owns what. And that is what this article is talking about. So the Wall Street Journal, Kyle, is saying security tokens are coming.
They're coming through. They're driving great content. Definitely check those articles out if you are still looking to get a little bit of a better understanding of the industry and getting maybe a better idea from maybe a more financial perspective that's a little bit less technical, as we tend to get on here on the show. But this is fantastic work. And yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, we've been saying it here that the GameStop crisis, a lot of those issues and being over leveraged and the accountability problems that happen between the brokers and the clearing firms and all these different pieces would be settled easily, no pun intended, if we had immediate settlement, because of the fact that the accountability would be very clear. It's easy to see what happens, and you can automate this process much more effectively to prevent any of this over leveraging that sometimes happens. So kudos to Wall Street Journal for bringing more attention to the industry. That's awesome. And moving into number 4, we've got Vesta Holdings. And Vesta Holdings is a $72 billion asset manager. They've got a real estate portfolio. And Vesta announced this week that they are going to be working with the Algorand blockchain to optimize all of their asset management and transfer for their portfolio. They're also actually developing a marketplace where they're going to allow homeowners to tokenize a fraction of their property to be able to sell to asset managers without actually needing to sell the entire home.
Now that's cool.
Fascinating stuff here, right? You could take essentially like a HELOC, but instead of taking a loan, you could actually sell a small portion of your property to somebody else in order to get some of that liquidity, have that thing trade, and be able to get those assets for yourself. And so this is fantastic. This is fascinating. Tokenizing a fraction of their home. Vesta seems like the proper place to do it. They've got the portfolio already. They've got the wherewithal to make it happen.
That's huge. I mean, as I understand, as a whole, they have over $70 billion in assets under management. Now they're testing this out clearly with their real estate portfolio, enabling huge innovation like that. That's never heard of in traditional real estate financial firms like that. So I think that's absolutely major news. Probably was a contender for Company of the Week there. But at the end of the day, they still need to make it happen. So we'll be watching this closely. We'll be looking out for announcements as they launch these services and their platform, or their marketplace, I should say, because it seems like maybe they're going to enable outside access to this as well.
We'll keep you updated on that one, that's for sure.
And the final one here, we have Crypto SX for number 5. And actually their big news is that the CISA, that's the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority gave them their approval to go ahead and launch their STO exchange. So I know they've been, in beta, as I understand it, sort of in a fintech sandbox, as they call it, enabling the firm to go ahead and start actually issuing and trading security tokens, which I understand there's 3 to 5 different security tokens actually listed on the platform already, as well as the fact that they service a major cryptocurrency exchange as well. So now they're looking to launch and get super active in the security token space with full approval. And that's, by the way, if you're not familiar with CISA, that's actually one of the first economic provinces of the Philippines that has been focusing on fintech solutions and creating that sort of fintech sandbox. So it's clearly a regulatory environment that's friendly towards security tokens, in fact, supporting it. And now CryptoSX has been officially approved to go ahead and launch their exchange.
And that's the beauty of security tokens, is that as long as we're following the same compliance standards around the world, it doesn't matter where these exchanges are coming out of and bringing liquidity for assets in different jurisdictions. These things can all play together. We can have interoperability around the world. Anyone could invest in these assets. They do have, I think, 3 tokens that are now trading on their platform. So we're going to be doing our best to get that trading information, hopefully for next week's podcast episode in our market update. And this is great news. Congratulations, another exchange looking to move into the security token space. Obviously, blockchain and crypto is cool, but this market of tokenized assets is just so much bigger than what we see in those traditional markets. And now it does seem like there's a lot of firms that are really starting to catch on.
As you said, in a new global region that we may one day be able to access through security tokens through the CryptoSX exchange, and that's big news. Very exciting. And that is the top 5 rundown for you folks.